will ever understand the feeling of like when you meet a fine ass man and then like she texts you the next morning and that good morning text says Grand Rising Queen.
Oh.
Just never mind.
I agree with you, sis. I hate you fake woke man. That Grand Rising Queen, that is real. You know how many times I seen trying to get at my girl? I mean, we married now. How was your day, Melanin Goddess? Melanin Goddess? Where you got that from?
Never mind. Have a good day, sir. Have a good day. Have a good life. I'm not doing this with you. I'm not doing this.
Don't do it with him. I swear I hate you fake woke, man. I used to be warning my girl. Yo, God bless her heart because she has came a long way. She used to be very naive. Especially when we were in college because that's when she was on her Erykah Badu Sister Soldier, tree hugging. I'm all about black unity and I don't have no problem with being about black unity. But it was out here that was trying to weaponize the melanin. They was trying to weaponize the woke movement to get their dick wet.
Assalamu alaikum, Melanin Goddess.
Now all of a sudden you a fruit of Islam. This will be Jehovah's Witness, fruit of Islam, one of the 12 disciples, if it could get them closer to. And I used to be warning her about that, because that ain't, I'm not that. I don't wear dashikis. I ain't with all that. Now I'll be burning Palo Santos, but back then I wasn't with that. I was an educated hood. So when she went to school, she went to HBCU. You had all these different dudes. You had the dudes that was in the fraternities, right? You had the alphas, the kappas, the Q dogs. You had dudes that was in the fraternities. But then on the other side, you had the wokeness that would invite her to the groups. Hey, we're having a community meeting on blackness and how we can better serve the black community. And she used to be falling for this shit. And I'm sitting there like, yo, you know he trying to get at you, right?
Oh my God, no he's not. Everybody ain't trying to get at me.
Alright. I give it a few weeks. He gonna show his true colors. And I was right. Then you sitting there.
Oh my God, you were so right. You know, I should have listened to you.
And then a few months later, something else happened. And I'm like, yo, bro, listen. At the end of the day, dudes is dudes. Yeah, they might be a part of this movement, but they can definitely weaponize that movement to get in your drawers.
It's rehearsal for the new show Speak, and I got to take a moment to shout out my co-host Joy Taylor. A woman, a black woman, daily show, sports. Do you all realize how hard it is to get into the position that she is in? So often there's misogyny and sexism running rampant in sports, and we don't even care what women have to say in sports. But Joy is not only in the position on television as a woman, as a black woman, but as an opinionist. So not just asking men what they think, but providing her own unique and distinct insight.
I dubbed them princess boys because clearly they want the princess treatment. And being a woman of substance and means, I can provide that for them. Now, there's things that I want in exchange for taking care of a princess boy. And, you know, if that is what men are interested in behaving like, I feel like I can do that. I can be that person for you. I can give you an experience you've never had.
Hypotheticals have got us in a chokehold, and we must free ourselves. It's fun to argue about. It's fun to talk about what you would do in this scenario, or would you leave the game if the seats were high, or if a man took you this place on a first date, what you would do. And I'm telling you, like, every interaction that I have with people now, in some way or another, these things come up. Can we just keep it a buck? If they're fine enough, if they're funny enough, or if their financial status is what you want. Fine, funny, fucking money. You're throwing all boundaries, standards, all that shit you talked on Instagram about how you would never, and this woman ain't because women this and men this, and you're moving forward with this person.
Man. So it's looking like we got some more breaking news over there at FS1, man. Fox Sports finally let Joy Taylor go. So they just cut her show, man. It was on Fox Sports 1. We all know the situation that happened earlier in this year. Remember, guys, Joy Taylor's name was involved in a lawsuit, which she had denied. You know, the lawsuit included her name because the hairstylist was suing Skip Bayless and Fox Sports president Charlie Dixon. That was the alleged guy that Joy Taylor had slept with because he's the guy that gives out the jobs over there. And apparently the hairstylist, who was a friend of Joy Taylor, had came to her and was like, hey, this guy is trying to promise me stuff if I sleep with him, and I don't want this stuff. Like, this is weird, and you're around this guy. And apparently Joy Taylor had wrote her off and was like, get away from me, go do what you got to do type stuff. So that's why Joy Taylor's name was involved in that lawsuit, right? So, a lot of podcast clips started coming out, people exposing how Joy Taylor was pretty much saying that, she would do anything for $1 million. That's the reason why you have this show that you're not even qualified for. So people like Marcellus Wiley and Jason Whitlock, who was very critical of Fox Sports giving Joy Taylor this show that she wasn't qualified for, it just proves that they're right, because obviously the show didn't bring any ratings. Acho, he was one to defend Joy Taylor when the lawsuits had came out. He was one of the main ones to come out and defend her, and then people started exposing a lot of pictures of Joy Taylor and Emmanuel Acho in a personal setting at her house and stuff like that. So obviously people was trying to say, they did have a relationship, a private relationship or something like that, man.
Even if that happened to my daughter, I would be hurt. But that's a choice that my daughter made.
Yeah.
So I don't want to kick nobody while they're down.
I think the big thing, because I have girls too, is though...
No boys?
I have a boy too.
Okay.
Is one, if your son is in that position or your son is accused of those things that Diddy was accused of, I'm gonna check him about that. I'm gonna check him about whether or not these are things you've done. I'm also gonna check him about putting himself in those positions. And on the other side that we have to be very careful of, especially when talking about women, is that if those things are true, right, and some of the things are true,
yes,
that wasn't a decision they made, right? That's something that was done to them.
Please, sir, I want some more.
And I wasn't in those rooms, so I can't cast aspersions on Diddy and say that he did it or he did do it or he's an evil man or he is. What I am saying is, if those things happen to those women, not
yes,
only is it not right, it's also not their fault. My son, I'm gonna check him. Those women, so not their fault. My son, I'm gonna check him. Those women, so not their fault.
But I just want the record to show it is a double standard, because if a man did something like that in the airport and then turned around and just did a little video like that, y'all would be dragging him to hell right now. You would be on this radio sounding so understanding.
He would have lost everything
about the situation.
Yes.
Gone.
We don't know what she might have lost behind the scenes. We have no idea. There was a video that came out. You saw it on video. We don't know.
If Lauren don't know, then somebody lying. Okay,
you got to point
every
that.
Every sponsorship would have jumped out the window and said we are no longer working with them.
Christian even commented on it. Let's check out what he had to say.
Personally, I feel like it was just a sucky situation all around. Like, I don't feel as if she should have been arrested. You know what I'm saying? People have discussions and emotions and stuff like that. And she have things that she need to work on for herself, of course. And so do I, so do you, everybody. And I'm the type of guy, I'm in the business of just extending grace and mercy and love. And I feel as if I don't try to look at obstacles either. I just look at situations like this to just take a step back, analyze yourself mentally, and then just try to see what you can do to be your best self so that you can move forward, so you can just be the type of person and a human that God needs you to be for his kingdom and for his glory. And so that's kind of how I look at the situation. And I hate the narrative too of just it's so negative. But like I said, it's just in the state of Seattle, even talking to the cop or whatever, he was just it really was nothing I could do. And just I understood, but like I said, it was just a sucky situation, but she's a human being and a great person.
So the term Stockholm Syndrome actually comes from a 1973 failed bank robbery in Stockholm, Sweden, where the 4 hostages believed their captors were more on their side than the police. Soon after, rumors began to spread that the hostages had a unique bond with the criminals, with some stories saying they were in love with them or even defending them in court. Stockholm Syndrome refers to a unique dynamic in which a captive forms an emotional bond with their abuser. It's believed to refer to a trauma response born out of self-preservation. Research shows that there are usually 6 characteristics that may indicate a person is experiencing Stockholm Syndrome: feeling affection for their abuser, feeling negative negatively towards anyone who tries to help them leave the abuser, having sympathy for or defending the abuser, rationalizing abuse, seeing basic decency as exceptional kindness, and feeling powerless to leave. Oftentimes, Stockholm Syndrome is used to describe a wide variety of abuse survivors, such as survivors of kidnapping, DV, cults, and human trafficking. It's their brain's way of trying to protect them during these deeply traumatic experiences, such as developing appeasement strategies to avoid threats of harm that come after angering their abuser. It can be extremely difficult for survivors to make sense of the cognitive dissonance that lies at the core of trauma bonding, which is the internal conflict of caring for the person that controls and abuses them. This conflict is intentionally reinforced by the actions of abusers, who sprinkle random acts of kindness amid the abuse to confuse their victims and make them question reality.
Charlamagne saying that it's a double standard in domestic violence from women to men is true, and it should be. Men are freaking awful. It doesn't make it okay for a woman to hit a man. It doesn't make that something that we should allow to happen, but there is a difference in the things. I can see the difference. I know why there's a difference. And when you think about Sha'Carri Richardson and Christian Coleman, largely black women protect black men. Black women protect our culture. Largely, that's something that black women want spoken about, that we praise them for. But there are these situations as well that do become aggressive, that do become violent. They are not without fault. But what Sha'Carri Richardson has to think of, and any black woman that puts a black man in that position, is what could be the next step for him.
Right.
In a world that doesn't value him, with authority figures who have had run-ins with unarmed black men that turn violent, you've now put him in a bad situation. And I think those are the thought processes that sometimes when you're young and you're immature, you don't process in the right way, whether it's the initial action or it's the second half of it where you're pleading with the police officers and saying his name in those ways and now involving him in the second tier of it. And so, like, the thing for me would be protect one another.
Right.
Both Christian Coleman, who did the right thing. You could tell he wasn't taught that you don't just retaliate or you don't retaliate. He was taught that you protect. He was taught that you keep your hands to yourself. He was taught that you love and that you support and you respect. And because of him, I believe this situation was able to be de-escalated. But for her, she has to be smarter, man. And though there's a double standard, that doesn't mean it's okay. Men are freaking awful.
Would you leave the game if the seats were high, or if a man took you this place on a first date, what you would do? And I'm telling you, like, every interaction that I have with people now, in some way or another, these things come up. Can we just keep it a buck? If they're fine enough, if they're funny enough, or if their financial status is what you want, fine, funny, in money, you're throwing all boundaries, standards, all that you talked on Instagram about how you would never, and this woman ain't because women this and men this, you're moving forward with this person.